Hey guys, let's make this video quick. We're going to review complex rhythms. They're not really that complicated because they get even more complicated the further you go and the longer you learn about music. But for now, at the junior high level, there's basic rhythms and complex rhythms. Basics, whole note, half note, quarter notes, and their equivalent rests. Complex is adding sixteenths, eighths, and dots. Okay? And then syncopation, which is like we already learned how to do that. Anyway, let's talk about the tree. We know the tree, right? I'm not going to draw the entire tree. I'm just going to let it be one branch come over here. So we got a whole note, and then a whole note splits into half notes, which splits into quarter notes. We know that much already, correct? It's such a lopsided tree. All right. After that, our quarter notes split into eighth notes, right? And we know how to count those. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we can see them tied together this way in these three manners. Eighth notes. And then after eighth notes, we get 16th notes, right? They just have two flags. Or, schnikes. You can find them beamed in a group of 4 with 2 beams, or just a plain old group of 2. Okay. Eighth rests look like this. 16th rests look like this. And they just keep going. This gets 4 beats, 2 beats, 1 beat, half a beat, and a quarter of a beat. And as we've probably mentioned in the past, it can go even further than that. So you can split it from 16ths to 30 seconds to 64ths to 120 seconds and whatever. Okay? 128, is it? I can't remember. So it just gets further, but for junior high, we don't really travel further than 16th notes. After that, 30 seconds is mostly high school or high level stuff. Okay. Now let's review the dot. So if I have a half note and there's a dot right next to it, not under it or above it, next to it, the dot means that you add half of its value. Say that with me 3 times. The dot adds half of its value. 3 times. Go. The dot adds half of its value. Again, the dot adds half of its value. One more time. The dot adds half of its value. So half note is 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1. 2 plus 1, 3. It basically is half note plus a quarter note. Now, it's easy when you think of it as a half note. When we do it to a quarter note, we add the dot on a quarter note. What's half of a quarter? Is a half. So 1 plus a half. It equals 1.5 beats. Now, for most time signatures, that means we have to add an eighth note or an eighth rest somewhere else in the measure to complete it. That's just a thing. There are complex time signatures like 3.5 over 5, meaning you have 3.5 beats. Yeah. So it can get complicated like that. Actually, I don't know if that's possible. I don't think 5 is a number, a type of note. Like 3.5 over 2. So you get 3.5 half notes. You got a half note, half note, half note, and a quarter note. 3.5 over 2. That's eighth, and then that's a dotted quarter. And then you got the dotted eighth note. So an eighth note is already half, and half of a half is a quarter. So using the addition of fractions, we know that the common denominator is 4. So if we doubled this half to equal 2 fourths, 2 fourths plus 1 fourth equals 3 fourths. Meaning that in order to complete the beat, we want to have one more 16th note to complete it. Okay? Fractions. Yay. Dots. All right. Hopefully you've written all of this down, because now we're going to do some rhythm math. I'm going to give you like 3 math questions using notes, and you need to find out what the answer is. All right. Oh, forgot to mention. Rests can have dots too. Rests can have dots too. A dotted quarter rest is still only 1.5 beats, just like a quarter note. But rests can have dots too. All right. Rhythm math number 1. Whole note plus eighth note plus eighth dotted eighth plus a quarter note plus a 16th note plus an eighth note. Whole note plus quarter plus dotted, or whole note eighth dotted eighth, whole quarter 16th quarter or eighth. This is hard to say. Okay, give you 5 seconds to see if you can figure it out on your own before I start figuring it out. All right. So we know a whole note equals 4. Then an eighth is half. Dotted eighth is 3/4. 1/4 and a half. Now I'm going to start grouping stuff together. I know that this quarter and that one, the dotted eighth and the 1/16, are going to equal 1 if I put them together. And then if I put these 2 half notes, or half valued notes, eighth notes, they also equal another 1. Okay, so I've got 4, 5, 6, 7. The answer is 7. All right, here's the next one. Let's see. We're going to do dotted half note plus 2 16th notes plus an eighth note plus a quarter note plus 4 16th notes. You have 5 seconds to figure it out. All right. Dotted half note. Half is 2, half of 2 is 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. That's 3. We got 2 16th notes, so an eighth, or a quarter plus a quarter equals 1/2. Already know that. The eighth note is another half. Hey, I'm just going to add these right now. I know that's 1. Then we got 1, and then we got 4 16ths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 quarters of a quarter note. I know that all of them together equal 1. 3, 4, 5, 6. The answer is 6. All right, last one. No, it doesn't work. Okay. Last one. A 16th plus an eighth plus a 16th. Plus a dotted eighth, 16. Plus a quarter note. Plus a whole note. Plus 2 16ths and an eighth. if you noticed, I beamed the ones together that equal 1. So I got a quarter and another quarter right here, plus a half. These two equal a half, plus this one, all of them together, equals 1 beat. Dotted eighth note is 3/4 plus 1/4, another beat. Then we got a quarter note, 1, a whole note gets 4. Quarter, quarter, half. These 2 quarters equal a half, these ones equal 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The answer is 8. Addition, fractions, rhythm, math. Music is math. Yeah. All right, that was the review. It seems like a long review because it's like roughly 11 minutes, but you should see the learning complex rhythm. That one's like twice as long. Okay,